I'm going to talk to you about how the copyright assignment meets the Assure model. So we'll talk about the first letter, A, analyze the learners. So this lesson is for 4th grade students in a Title I campus. There are 2 SPED students in the class and 1 ESL student in the class. There are 2 gifted students in this class. I've used mostly simple language and have thoroughly broken down hard vocabulary words to differentiate for all of my students in the class. I will also provide this presentation to my students via an email link and on my Canvas so they can go back and look over it as many times as they need to. The S in the Assure model, state standards and objectives. I did the state standards first, the TEAC. I did 5B and 5C. That's what I taught here. It talks about digital citizenship to start with, but then it goes on to just talk about the practice safe, responsible, legal, and ethical behavior while using digital tools and resources. The student is expected to B, respect the intellectual property of others, which is what we focus on here in this lesson, and C, abide by copyright laws and fair use guidelines for the educational multimedia. So we focused a lot on B and C. And then the AASL standard is learners exchange information resources within and beyond their community by contributing to collectively constructed information sites by ethically using and reproducing others' work. So the other S in Assure is select strategies and resources. So I've chosen a teacher-centered approach for this for the lecture for this lesson. I've included slides that are specific to technology and that students use today and to keep them more involved and motivated during this lesson. I did that. And this will also help the students understand the topic better by, making sure you're using that up-to-date, what I use that up-to-date technology for them, like phones. I referenced something that they did on their phone and something they did on their computer. I've made this lesson as a presentation so that it's up on a big screen for everyone to see the words as I'm presenting the presentation. I've also included some clip art to catch the students' attention. The U in the Assure model is utilize resources. So I've thoroughly previewed all the content I'm using to ensure students are not exposed to any inappropriate content. I have chosen specific wording so that 4th grade students will understand all the vocabulary I'm using. I have prepared a presentation in a specific sequence to make certain students get full understanding of my lesson. I've prepared my environment by checking my smart screen to make sure it's in proper working order. I've emailed my PowerPoint to my screen, downloaded the PowerPoint, checked to make sure it's working, and I've even saved it to my screen, the screen itself, so that it's easily accessible. I have prepared my learners by telling them how this lesson relates to the real world and have given them an overview of the lesson. The R part of the Assure model require learners' participation. My objectives are clearly stated in this presentation, so I will make sure students are actively engaged with my presentation by walking around the room, making good eye contact with all the learners, using proper vocabulary that the students can understand. And in one section of my presentation, we talk about what's okay, what's not okay, and it's in certain scenarios so that keeps the students actively engaged because they're scenarios that are very like 4th grade driven scenarios. And then the E, evaluate and revise. I'll be using a rubric to assess the students' understanding of the presentation. Just did 3 categories: needs improvement, the student has not met the learning objective, and the student struggles to explain copyright. Satisfactory, meaning that student is approaching the learning objective. Students can explain most things about copyright, but not all things. And then excellent is the student has met the learning objective and the student can explain copyright. Thank you very much. These are my resources that I use, which was the textbook. And thank you for your time.